Hi, and welcome to the Andre The Beast Show. I'm Andre The Beast Crayton. Today, on this episode, we're going to talk about safety and the importance of safety for not only ourselves, but the safety for our children and our young adults that we send out into the world every day. We're going to talk with Jill Lees, and we're going to talk with her about the regiments that she puts in place to protect our young teens at Bloomington IU. Jill Lees is the current chief of police at IU University. Jill, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Andre. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you so much for asking me.
Yeah, how did you like that introduction?
Loved it. Loved it.
Okay, so Jill, give me a little bit about your chief of police. Mm-hmm. You're female from Hammond. When did the light go off that this is something that you wanted to pursue, the law enforcement division?
When I was in high school, I was focusing on friends and sports and just really, I was a huge athlete, had a lot of great friends I'm still friends with today. Mm-hmm. And sitting in class one time, and I'll never forget, it was World Civilization. Mr. Charlotte asked me to come up there. He goes, "Hey," my last name was Monday then. He goes, "Hey, Monday, come on up to my desk." And I'm like, oh, what'd I do, right?
Right.
So I go up to the desk and he goes, "I'm part of a service organization, and I think you would really enjoy the state police career camp. How would you like to go, and we'll pay for you to do that next summer?"
Pay for you to go?
Yeah, pay. I mean, I didn't have the money, and my family didn't have the money really to ship me off to camp for a week. Okay. So I was like, yeah, that sounds exciting. I mean, I'm always up for a good challenge and for excitement, and I always had good relations with the police in my neighborhood, but this was a new adventure for me. Okay. So I went to state police camp back in 1989.
Okay.
I remember I was sitting there, and that's when they had state troopers. They brought in federal agencies. They had SWAT, canine, all kinds of different specialties. And I just remember sitting there, and I was like, "This is what I want to do."
Okay.
I said, "This is what I want to do." That's when the light bulb went on.
Okay.
And IUPD was there.
Okay.
And back at that time, it was Lieutenant Joe Roop. And
you got a good memory.
I'll never forget him. I remember everything.
Okay.
But I'll never forget that he stood up there and talked about how you can go to school at Indiana University, but you also can be a part of a cadet program where you can train to be a police officer while you're, studying.
And what grade was this? Did all this take place?
Summer before my junior year. So I was getting ready to start junior year, and that's kind of when you start looking of, what's your avenue, right, after high school. So, and that's when the light bulb turned on for me. And I said to myself then, I said, not only do I want to get in law enforcement, I want to go to Indiana University, and I want to be part of that cadet program.
Were the faculty at your school, because I'm pretty sure the vast world of the internet probably was just now surfacing or wasn't surfacing. Were there any influences from the faculty, your counselors, as far as guiding you there, or was this just something that you just happened to walk into and say, "Wow, I want to just see what's going on"?
Absolutely. I mean, I was just focused and driven from that point and said, "Wow, I just want to go to IU, and I'm going to figure out how to do it." And I went home, and I remember coming back from that camp and telling my mom, "I want to go to IU, and I want to be part of that cadet program." But meanwhile, while I was at that camp, I met a state trooper.
Who was that?
That was Nyla Miller-Cronk, who's a major with the state police today.
See, I can tell you're a police officer. You have not forgotten a name all the way from back to 1989.
That's right. That's right. And she remembered me and she was my mentor, basically, ever since that police camp. And I've seen her and crossed paths with her throughout my whole entire career, and she just called me the other day. So we keep in touch, and that's something that's so important to me is having that mentorship, whether it's a teacher, whether it's a coach, whether it's, a fellow law enforcement officer that's also a female. That was really important for me back at State Police Camp.
That she was a female officer? Mm-hmm. So how was that so important to you, if you don't mind sharing that?
Because female officers, are a little bit different, and while we all work very well together, I think it's really important, though, for me as a high schooler to look at her and say, if she can do it, I can. Whether it be, doing the push-ups or passing the entrance exams or passing the physical tactics side of it or shooting. There's so many different skills police officers have to know and be good at to do the job. And I just was so happy to be able to connect with her and other female officers that were counselors at that camp.
So we're probably in the same era. We won't mention age brackets at this time, but clearly I know from my own experience growing up, and you come from Hammond, which really isn't that far from Gary, steel industry area. My choices were limited growing up in high school, and I understand what you're saying. When you're in your last 2 years of high school, you're really looking for, what am I going to do next? What's my next step? My choices were kind of like you. You went to the military, or you found the local factory. College was really not on counselors' mind. So with that said, did the same things kind of happen to you? And if so, if that hadn't been your option, walking into the school that day and seeing that, what was an alternative for you? Because let's face it, Hammond, steel, very little schooling. What do you do from that moment on? What was it like for you?
For me, up until that point, I kind of wanted to follow my dad's footsteps in the military. And I had really good grades, so I would have loved to have gone to like West Point or the Air Force Academy or something of that nature. But, because I just didn't see myself as a traditional college student, because I'm a first-generation college student, so I never got to know and understand, like, if my mom and dad went to college, and my dad being in the military, that always interested me because of just there again the physical nature of things.
Did your parents come at you with any type of aspirations about college, or because the fact that your dad was in the military and served, was that more of a direction that they probably saw you going into anyway?
We had a lot of different conversations in the household about different career paths or choices, as far as like, my interest in the military or different other interests that I had. I always had really good grades, and again, I loved sports. So
what do you mean really good grades? What's your GPA?
I think
boom, you forgot it.
No, I got it, but I think back then, though, I graduated fourth in my class in high school.
Okay.
And so when I told people I wanted to be a police officer, they're like, why don't you become an attorney? And I was like, because I don't want to.
Why do you think they said attorney? Just
because of grades.
Okay.
They looked at that being a higher status than being a police officer, and I was like, but I like to help people, and I wanted to make a difference in my community.
Okay.
So that's kind of the direction I went.
Okay. Now, the direction that you went. So tell me. Let me put this like this, because see, I already talked to you. You did something I thought was really cool. One of my favorite movies is, I better not tell people. Should I say it, Jason? Silence of the Lambs. Do you remember that area right there? I think you visited there before, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Tell me that. Did you see Hannibal Lecter at all?
No, I did not.
Okay. So tell me about that journey down there. What was it like? FBI.
Yes, I went to the FBI National Academy, and I have to say I went to session number 279, so I have to give a shout out to those classmates.
Okay.
I went to the FBI in Quantico, Virginia, with 250 other law enforcement executives from around the world, from all over the United States, from Alaska to Hawaii to the East Coast to Europe and Asia. And I met some amazing people and spent 10 weeks from January to March this year of 2020 studying, networking, and also working out really hard and running the Yellow Brick Road.
And what's the Yellow Brick Road?
The Yellow Brick Road that's the pinnacle of being at the National Academy is earning that yellow brick. It's not given, it's earned.
It's earned.
And you have to qualify with a mile run under a certain time, and you have to it's part of a Marine Corps competency or confidence course that you might see Clarice Starling running, at the beginning parts of that movie. And it's about 6 miles, but 2.5 of it is your traditional military Marine obstacles. So that was fun.
Speaking of Marines, you have a son, a brand new grandchild.
Mm-hmm.
He's going into the Marines. Is it first year or second year?
He's completed his first year in the Marines. Yes, sir.
How does he feel about his mom and the career choice that you have? I know he says things and you go, oh my God, but what's it like?
I've always tried to be such a good role model for him when he was growing up, but I will tell you that, I think he's always been proud of me, and I'll never forget one time where I was actually out of town and I won like the Top Gun Award, or a small trophy. We always had a competition, who was the best shot on the department back in the old days. And
the old days.
Yeah, the old days. This was when he was a lot younger, when he was little. And he actually accepted that award for me because he was in attendance. And, it's like a cool picture of him with mom's trophy, with the chief and the assistant chief at that time. So he's been through my journey with me ever since he was born.
So he finds a lot of your stuff embedded in him now as he moves forward and stuff. Okay, so tell me this. You're now the chief of police. What was that like?
Being the chief of police is definitely, it's hard to describe. It's something that it's hard to imagine because you work so hard. I've worked for almost 26 years to get to this point.
Were there ever any doubts, any people that was like, you're naturally, you already know I'm going, you're a female. Mm-hmm. What was your biggest obstacles that you allowed to penetrate into your mind and said, this is what I need to try to overcome because I see a bigger project in my future?
Yeah. I've always just worked really hard and doing a lot of the little things that people didn't want to do.
As what?
Such as writing policy. Nobody wants to do that.
What is writing policy?
It's the brain work and the important behind the scenes work of law enforcement that a lot of people don't see and how important that is. But when you do things like that, I always thought, well, this will set me up someday for something bigger and better.
Right.
But a lot of times I kind of felt like, well, okay, I'm on the admin side of law enforcement or the support side and maybe not that operations side where you would think the next chief of police would come from. So I've always worked hard, people look at me and think, well, gosh, you've done so much in your career, you probably had not had a lot of setbacks, but, there were promotions I didn't get and there were different other, just other small things along the way that just a minor setback, but
Did that make you stronger because the promotions that you thought you should have gotten, did that just add more fuel to the fire to go, okay, I didn't get it, but I'm going to keep moving?
Yeah, I'm one of those that always I always say I bring my own weather with me. Like I always bring a positive attitude and I always want to work harder. So if you tell me I can't do something,
you're going to do it.
I'm going to do it. Okay. I'm going to keep working, keep growing. And I think it's about personal self-satisfaction too in making my own personal improvements.
Okay.
So I think that's really important too. So a lot of the little things that I have done has helped me set up myself for leadership. And what that looks like and how I like to have fun. And being the chief of police, you have such an awesome opportunity to help the people that you work with. And it's not that work for you, it's the people that you serve. It's being that servant leader and really working alongside with them and caring about what their personal struggles are or what they want to achieve.
And that's the reason that we're here today. We're talking about that caring and that concern. You have a big responsibility. You're dealing with our children. During a time now where even though they're going off to be young adults, they're still looking for role models. Let's use this for an example. As soon as we had the lockdown nation worldwide, pretty much, it seemed Florida left the Pandora box open. And college kids are less like any other college kids. We're invincible. We all lived through that phase. What did you do to help the parents and to help the kids without them feeling you're not my mom, I'm on my own? How did you make the comfort zone to safety better for the kids, better for the community, better for the parents?
You know, in this time during COVID-19, it's been very difficult to actually reach out and be face to face with, you know, the parents coming through student orientation, or you know, a lot of our campus partners, or the kids showing up for that welcome week and kind of giving that message of safety, but also the caring and how much, you know, IUPD wants them to succeed. And I think the biggest thing that I've done this summer is video after video after video, because everybody's on Zoom and everybody's getting messages through video or Twitter videos, or you know, I'm doing a parent webinar the beginning of September on health and safety, you know, with you know, medical staff from our health center to kind of help navigate that safety concern, but also the health risk too. So I'm always trying to partner and trying to get a positive message across. And one thing that I always stress to parents is nobody wants your children more safe than I do. You know, I always look at all the kids on campus as my kids, and that I think it's really important that they know that we're here as a resource and we're here to help them, and we want nothing but their success. After 4 years, they can leave Indiana University with a diploma and say, I made it, and I had people that helped me along the way if needed.
Now, how have you, since you've taken over, what kind of changes have you seen moving forward versus things that you saw that needed to be changed and that you now have implemented that has clearly impacted the university and the faculty and the safety?
Right. I think something that, you know,
I got you with that when I see you going like this.
Yeah. No, it's just there's a lot coming in from the outside. Think about it. I didn't work the last 25 years at Indiana University as an officer or as, you know, a supervisor and worked my way up. I came in from the outside, even though I did make it through that cadet program back in the early 90s. I did go to the police academy there. So I definitely had a foundation of understanding, but obviously things change in 25 years. But I just didn't want to come in and just, you know, upset the apple cart or change everything for the sake of change. They always say things about cops. Cops don't like change, and they don't like the way things are. That's always been the old standard.
But you changed the standards, though.
Yes, we've definitely have taken a look at it. I kind of came in and sat back just to kind of see how things were working, and then obviously with those, you know, my bosses and different, you know, campus partners, we looked at how can we make this organization better. We're looking at, we just instituted body cameras. When that was something that, you know, they've been working on before my arrival. We're definitely looking at improving our policies and procedures and working toward that police accreditation, because that's so important to have an accredited police department following national standards.
And you guys are also working with race development programs.
Yes, we work with the Vice President's Office of Equity, Inclusion, and Diversity in regards to forming a new EIO program, which is it's an engagement inclusion officer program, where it's not that community policing where you just check the box. It's actually reaching out to different student groups and making that connection, that meaningful connection. It's not just sitting down and having a conversation, but being intentional in how we can help look at their concerns, or how can we build better relationships. I think that's the biggest key into all of this, is how do we build better relationships, have better understanding, learn about struggles that certain groups have, and embrace that diversity, because Indiana University is such a diverse campus and offers so much to students that we want them to be successful and feel that they, you know, can rely on IUPD for that safety.
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm a hit her with this line, Jason, from the movie. I'm not going to jail today. What movie is that? Can I get a Samuel L. Jackson? I'm not going to jail today.
Oh, The Negotiator.
All right, there we go.
There we go. You had to say it. You had to say it like.
So I'm looking at all of your accomplishments. This was by far, I was like, are you serious? explain how you became a negotiator. That is like my favorite movie, but a female.
Yeah.
Once again, you've accomplished some things that, if we look at the way society is today, the first thing they're going to say, you're a female. But we're going to use this show to show that you can be anything you want to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Tell me about the negotiator, how you became the negotiator.
Well, I think the biggest thing is I like to talk a lot. You know, if you can out-talk somebody, you can then out-talk them out of a house or out of different situations.
Have you actually performed that task?
Absolutely, many times.
Really?
Many times, absolutely. All different kinds of circumstances, yeah. Very successful, too. I mean, there's not that one that I think, wow, you know, I mean, you learn from different minor mistakes or different things. I wish we would have done things a little bit different, but never in a critical situation. That's where I feel like my strength is I'm calm and cool. I can talk to somebody. I really can get in their brain of, what I can do to help them. I always look at the help part of it.
What is life like for you? Just take the viewers on a ride with you. You're getting up in the morning and because I think a lot of times, especially with what we're dealing with today, we always ask that people, they don't want to walk in your shoes, but they're quick to make judgment. Yeah. Does that make any sense?
Absolutely.
Tell me what it's like. Take the viewers on a ride with you, because you have life and death situations in your hand every day.
Absolutely.
You have decisions that affect people every single day, and we on the outside, we don't ride in the police car with you. We don't go on a call out to see what's going on. We don't see the aftermath, but when it's portrayed in the news, we're quick to judge.
Right.
So you tell me, what's it like to ride with you on a chaotic day? Not a good day.
I was going to say
a chaotic day. What's it like? I mean, tell me what it's like that you had to deal with something and you was like, oh my God, if it was me doing it, could I have actually been able to do it? Can I go in and negotiate a situation? Probably not.
Right.
So you tell me, take me on a ride.
Okay. Well, first let me just start real briefly with that good day.
Okay.
Because that good day is coffee.
Okay.
Got to have the coffee. It's real important for me.
I'd like to take time out to give a commercial break to Starbucks. They should be here soon to bring us a fresh cup of coffee. Okay, go ahead, baby.
No, that's really important. Is I love to get to work really early, and I love to talk to the supervisors, find out what's going on for the day. I mean, a good day is, it's always packed with meetings and phone calls and things, but it's really connecting with the people at work, which I think is really important. Throughout my career, I've worked in many critical incidents, and I think that the chaos is when you get called out and you really have to wrap your brain around what's happening, what the situation is, and you
probably have a split second to evaluate.
Absolutely. As an administrator, I got to think of everything. Did you call out the evidence tech, the detectives? What are we doing here, there? And luckily, after a chaotic situation, you have that after action debrief where you can kind of sit and say, what was good about this? What would you like to improve? What are some corrective actions? Just different things like that. But I mean, there's, it's kind of, that's when you really get into beast mode, is when that critical incident, especially when you get woke up in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And you have to be on, trying to find out, at IU, the biggest power is that sending out that emergency alert in a critical incident. Okay. So something happens real close to campus that could impact campus, or there's a major.
Do you guys work closely with the Bloomington Police Department? So if they get a call out, you're right on the same frequency, so you can put in a plan of action for the campus as well. Am I saying it right?
No, absolutely. We're not on the exact same frequency, but we definitely monitor their frequency. And anytime something happens middle of the night, during the day, that really is impacting the city, but very close to campus, they obviously contact us, or we communicate back and forth to find out if we have to send that emergency alert. And when you do that, that's like pushing the button to alert 64,000 people connected to the campus, students, faculty, staff, to monitor that emergency situation that's come out. So a lot of times we're up in the middle of the night and we're talking through a situation we might have just to see where we're at and if we need to send an emergency alert or a timely warning.
How do you disassociate when you go home? How do you just unravel from everything that goes on in your job? How do you go back home and say, I'm going to leave this home? Because really, I don't think you can. Because I guess with the job title that you have, it's not like you're a patrol officer.
Right.
When that clock hits, do you ever really shut down? You're in the beast state of mind 24/7, and people don't realize that. So what is your recipe for doing that? Because you got to have sign, mind, and body. So what do you do to just say, you know what, I'm gonna relax the beast in me right now and just make it about me?
Absolutely. I think for me, it's that quiet time. When I'm at work, I am in beast mode. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to rock and roll as far as, just, handling the meetings and phone calls and different, things throughout the day. But when I get home, I love to read. I like that quiet time. And I think the key for me is trying to do the very best I can to get a good night's sleep, get 8 hours of sleep. Sometimes, again, you get woken up in the middle of the night. But I think that's really important for me is kind of that quiet time, just to kind of unwind. My faith is very important to me. So that hour at church on Sunday, I think that kind of is my reset button.
Do you actually set that time aside for yourself?
Yes.
And let the faculties and stuff know, look, this is my Sunday, this is my time?
Yes.
You clearly can't say, don't hit the Batman button.
Right.
Yeah. So
sometimes you never know when that's going to happen.
Okay.
And sometimes you never know when the boss might call on Sunday, because it happens. I mean, that is part of being the chief, is that responsibility and liability that rests on my shoulders, and knowing how I can help the department navigate through different situations 24/7. But that is important to me, is that hour of Sunday church.
Well, see, it is clearly, I can look at you and see you also bring that mother figure to your work, and I think you got to have that. I think that's probably what makes you a little bit different than the average person, that you are a mother. You do have a son that's going that's in the service. You grew up in that, so the sense of compassion is clearly showing. How does that translate into your personal life? Like, do you have a sense of balance going there?
That could be better. You're always
it has
working.
To be difficult, because
it is.
if be real, if I was dating you and you had your job, I'd be freaking out all the time. You know what I mean? And I'm a guy and you're a female, so I would constantly be going, oh my God, what's the daylight going to be like for her? How do you bring that comfortness into your personal life?
I think with fun, a sense of humor and calm, just the me being me. I'm like this all the time, whether I'm at work or at home. And I think that's how I try to balance. But there are those things, I'm going back to talk about work again, but like last night,
right,
our brand new recruits that are cadet officers that graduated the police academy a few weeks ago, it was their first weekend working night shift. And it's like to see the glimmer in their eyes, and just to know that I'm helping shape the next generation of law enforcement. And that's why it's so important to me to see the smiles in their faces, knowing that they're trying to make a difference for students as well.
No, what else did you do last night? No, don't go there. You did something else besides that, because I was talking to you on the phone. What did you say?
Which part?
You said, Dre, I'm working a double or something like that, because I'm going out with the recruits to show support for those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I worked almost till about 11:30 last night until I got tired.
And still showed up here.
That's right. Okay. Absolutely. But, but there again, that gives me such satisfaction of trying to, in a world where people are not really wanting to be police, showing that we have this next generation of police officers coming up that are trying to do things and want to do things the right way.
What have you seen with the new cadets coming in? I mean, do you see a sense of urgency, or more of a sense of young individuals want to make a difference?
I think they are a great group of young individuals wanting to make a difference, But every summer they have a class motto.
And
this
can
summer,
you share that?
yes,
Okay.
absolutely. So this summer, if you can only imagine, was unprecedented times and unrivaled commitment. I mean, if you think about it, they had to adapt and overcome almost every single day that they were at the police academy this summer. And I just think it was a great opportunity for them to still be able to attend, but also then to help make our campus safe. And I think that's really big too. But, you know, there again, I digress to go back to the personal side of it. You know, those things at work make me happy, you know, and help me, you know, get through that weekend too.
There's nothing wrong with being happy while you're at work. I mean,
absolutely.
I tell people, if you're miserable going to work, it's not meant for you.
Right.
If you're griping when you get home, it's not meant for you. So evidently what you are doing, you enjoy, because I'm sitting here looking at you smile with every single question that has been thrown at you. I like to thank you for coming aboard with us today and sharing your story and really impacting the viewers, because I really think that they need to know that somebody's watching out for their kids, that IU has the resources to make that happen, and you are by far the anchor of that force to make these things happen during the times that we're dealing with now. Thanks for coming. Come back again. We'd love to have you back on the show. We'll do it for this episode of the Andre the Beast Show. Tune in every Friday. Jason, you got anything you want to say to Jill before we get off? You better say something.
I mean, really, I respect you so much and respect what you do. I had the opportunity to walk across America with a IMPD officer, David Roth, and it was an amazing experience, and to hear a little bit of his stories and things like that. So just thank you for your service.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
And with that said, tune in for the next episode of Andre the Beast Crayton.